Well, hi, hello, and how are you doing out there in internet land? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative and Wednesday Night Newsroom, this fun little thing where we do at the beginning of the week. We get together, we talk about the news, we give our views, and we try to make sense out of this crazy thing that we call life. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. I am sometimes known as the kid in the lid. Sometimes I'm known as the beau in the chapeau. On occasion, I'm called the common man with common sense. But in this moment, as always, there's one thing you can call me, and that is your host. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So if you would not mind, as always, please do me some favors. If you happen to have stumbled across this fine little thing we call a live stream, and you're saying to yourself, good grief, look at that handsome devil in the hat. My gosh, what do I do? Well, I'll tell you what you do. First of all, you subscribe to my channel on YouTube and Rumble. The next thing you do is you hit the bell for notifications. That way you're always aware when something new is coming out. And while you're at it, for this night in particular, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button on both YouTube and Rumble. And please do me the favor of leaving a comment in chat. It really does help with the algorithm. Truly, it does. And while you're at it, share the link with your friends. All right, let's see who is in the house this evening. TBA is definitely here. And let's see. Yes, sir, you did. You did manage to get your memes in first, but I think WWG1 has you beaten as far as everything he's got out there. And oh my gosh, he got a ton of them out there, which some are going to have to be saved for Thursday nights, but we'll get to that. Anyway, let's see who else is here. Gypsy's in the house. Mwah. Bring a blanket to the front porch. Chilly, nipply, and chilly weather. Yeah, indeed, you're right about that, my dear. Indeed. WWG1 is in the house, as mentioned, and I always appreciate everything he's doing. Let's see who else is here. Salty's in the house this evening. More memes from me. And let me tell you something. Woo, have we got the memes? Let's see who else is here. AH Summertime is in the house. Good evening, AH. We're glad to have you here with us. And everybody's starting to settle in. So, yeah, good to have you guys here with us tonight. And I will be busy in between sound clips transferring memes over to a separate page. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. Un momento, por favor. I just got to do something real fast. One second. Be right with you. And all right. Now we're ready to start moving some memes here momentarily. Okay. All right. Good to have all you guys here with us this evening. All you cool cats. Anyway, let's start off with a few memes tonight. And like I said, some of them are going to be postponed until Thursday evening, which most of those I'm going to tell you up front right now are WWG ones because I got back to the computer late. So no. Do not worry about that. Time got away from me too. So, but yeah, brother, don't worry about that. All good. But yeah, I'll be playing most of your memes Thursday night, sir. So rest assured of that. Same thing with Salty. But anyway, all right, let's get into the merry memes section of the show. You know, people accuse the Democrat Party of hypocrisy, and I think that is truly an unfair characterization. I'm not sure it's hypocrisy so much as it is selective memory. I mean, after all, they're making a lot of hay about what Trump is doing to the East Wing of the White House. So, but then again, are they really fair in that criticism? I mean, after all, can they really sit there and say they have a total regard for history in light of recent history? I mean, I don't know, folks. I don't know. It could very well be. It could very well be. So we'll see what happens here. But yeah, I think the Democrats don't have much of a leg to stand on in this argument about what Trump is doing in regard to history. So there you go. All right. What else is going on out there? I've always said that some memes just sort of speak for themselves. And that being the case, I am going to just let this one do the talking. Here you go.
77 million voted for a president willing to blow drug boats out of the ocean. Isn't America great?
I never paid that much attention to Bob Ross beyond his artwork when he was alive. But I tell you what, he might be on to something. Just saying. Oh, yes, 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 yes. I said a minute ago the Democrats have been trying to make a lot of hay about the fact that Trump has destroyed the East Wing of the White House. Well, I shouldn't say destroyed. He's renovating it. And but contrary to what the Democrats might think, there are some upsides to the fact that the East Wing has been demolished. I mean, for example, I guess this means we're never really going to get to see what was in the Epstein files. It just so happens they happen to be in the East Wing of the White House. So what are you going to do? There you go. There you go. Anyway, well, hello, Miss Brenda Ellers. Good evening. Warmer here than last time. New furnace is working. Well, good for you, Brenda. Glad to hear that. Glad that your new furnace is working out very well for you. It's reached that point in the year, folks. Mine's already starting to work. So's my worry about the gas bill. What are you going to do? Anyway, Mr. Scott Awesome is here. Be careful before you find the Bob Ross in the WWF. Well, I don't know. Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. All right. What else do we have in the way of the merry memes? Got an, I've had a lot of friends of mine ask me, particularly if we get on the subject of the Midwest, more particularly Chicago, and they're like, Front Porch, what do you think it's really like living in Chicago right now for people who are there? Yeah, and someone came up with a pretty good description of what it is to be in Chicago right now for so many different reasons. And you know what? I really can't disagree with this. I mean, you got all the problems in Chicago already. Then on top of that, you've got SNAP benefits that may be running out on the first of this month, or 1st of November, I should say. So yeah, it could very well be people are trying to flee the Windy City as fast as means will allow them to get out. Not saying, but I'm just saying. Anywho, sometimes you should really be careful what you wish for. You really should, because you just might wind up getting it. For example, especially for folks out there on the left who keep complaining about fascism. They talk about Trump's a fascist. They talk about you and I are fascists. They're talking about everybody who doesn't agree with them is a fascist. Well, they should very well be careful what they wish for, because one of these days they just might get it. And when they do, it will be more than they bargained for. And that's all I'm saying. Oh, that is true. That is very, very true indeed. My friend, you have my sympathies. Very much so. Yep. To all you lefties out there, just be careful what you wish for. All I'm saying. Much has been made about changes in the Democrat Party, how it has evolved, how it has changed so much. My mom and my late father, you can make an argument were Harry Truman or JFK Democrats. And when they look at the state of the Democrat Party today, they cannot believe what it's turned into. I mean, for example, back in the day, you had JFK saying, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." These days, you've got a Latina named AOC saying, "Free stuff, free stuff." Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. The Democrat Party has definitely changed quite a bit. That's all I'm saying. All right. Much thanks to TBA. Much thanks to WWG1, to Salty. And gentlemen, what memes didn't get used tonight will get used on Thursday night. So the host gives you his promise on that. Matter of fact, I'll start transferring them over just as soon as possible. Anyway, glad to have you guys here tonight. And that last meme I did kind of leads into a discussion of some of the major elections that are getting ready to take place here in the country not this tomorrow night, but a week from tomorrow night. We may be doing an election night live stream. I'm not sure yet. I'm thinking about it. But nonetheless, there was a rally in New York City over the weekend, and people are going to, I mean, it's real easy to dismiss that rally because, I mean, you guys have probably seen the clips, and we're going to play a couple of them here. You've seen the clips of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez being the lead-up speaker to Zoran Mamdani giving his speech in New York City over the weekend. And by all accounts, if you believe the polls, Mamdani's going to win, which is scary on so many different levels, but we'll get to some of that a little bit later. I say it would be really easy to dismiss that rally, or maybe more particularly to dismiss AOC. And you can understand why. I mean, look, the woman doesn't have a serious thought in her head, at least as far as I'm concerned anyway. Her ideas are more or less out of the mainstream. Of course, she would argue that that's the opposite. I'm out of the mainstream. I don't agree with that. But I suppose it depends on perspective. In New York City, yeah, I probably would be out of the mainstream for some people. On the other hand, take her anywhere else in the country, Texas, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and she'd definitely be out of place, like a fish out of water. I'm not ready to dismiss AOC yet. I'm really not. Now, I can just hear some of y'all say, but she's so dumb. She's so stupid. No. That woman is remarkably dangerous. Not in and of herself. I mean, like I said, I don't think she's particularly that smart. It's what she represents that's the danger. And we're gonna get to some of this here in a minute. I got a couple of clips here from Rich Barris, who appeared this morning on War Room with Steve Bannon. He brought some really good points from the data he's been looking at in his own polling and in other people's polling. But we're going to play some clips from that rally in New York City over the weekend. You guys have probably seen this one. This is AOC talking about who it was that populated New York City and what it is that they accomplished doing it. So do me a favor, as always, give me a sound check. Let me know if everything's coming through okay, and check this out.
This city was built by the Irish escaping famine, Italians fleeing fascism, Jews escaping Holocaust, Black Americans fleeing slavery and Jim Crow, Latinos seeking a better life, Native people standing for themselves, Asian Americans coming together in Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Staten Island, in this country, in a vision to build the freest, toughest, and greatest city on earth.
Now, like I say, you listen to clips like that. You listen to clips like that, and you see the way she gesticulates around and jumps up and down and waving doing all that. Folks, do not make the mistake of dismissing her. Good evening, Ruben. The sound is low. Okay. Thank you, sir. Um, Unfortunately, madam, I can do nothing about her screeching. That I have absolutely no control over. Yeah, that's a good comparison. That is a good comparison. But dismiss this woman at your peril. And I'm not saying that as a criticism of you guys in particular. She's more dangerous than you realize, not because of her, because of what she represents. And again, we'll get to that here in a minute. So AOC is out there on the stage. She's doing her thing. She's jumping up and down, you know, like an old Southern preacher. He got another clip here. And she wants you to know you're not the crazy ones, at least to the people she's talking to in New York City. Check this out.
But we must remember, in a time such as this, we are not the crazy ones, New York City. We are not the outlandish ones, New York City. They want us to think we are crazy. We are sane.
No, they're sane. And in one sense, she's absolutely right. It's real easy to be sane when you're talking to a group of people who don't think anybody that they're not crazy. She's preaching to the choir. Of course, they're all sane. They all think just like her. Introduce one person like me or you or anybody else, and then that point, oh, look at that guy in the hat. He's crazy. No, I'm not. This woman is dangerous. Now, in saying that, do I want to see her be shut down? Absolutely not. I want her to exercise her rights to free speech all day long. Keep on doing it, baby. What I want, however, is for her to be engaged. And what do I mean by engaged? I mean, I want her to be challenged. I want her ideas to be put out there and analyzed. I want her ideas, if they're wrong, prove it. I don't want to shut her up. I want to prove her wrong. No, I did not see this, dear. I did not see this. Interesting. Tag me on Twitter. Let's see it. Well, anyway, AOC is out there. She introduces the big fella, Zomdani, or Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani, thank you. And he gets there and gives a speech. Now, I've got a clip. I will admit, aside from watching some snippets from the debates, I haven't really paid that much attention. But if you were wanting your first taste of this guy, check out who may be the next mayor of New York City.
Here is what we stand for, my friends. We are going to freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants.
Okay, then who's going to pay the rent? Who's going to pay the difference?
And use every resource at our disposal to build housing for everyone who needs it.
Yeah, but who's going to pay for that? Where are you getting the money? I mean, forgive me for asking some obvious questions, but I mean, if you're going to promise everybody, the moon and back, don't you think you sort of have an obligation to tell everybody how you're going to pay for it? What? No, you're not supposed to ask questions like that. Oh, I don't. I think that's very reasonable to ask questions like that. And that's part of the problem. No one is asking him those questions. Andrew Cuomo's not asking him those questions. Curtis Sliwa might be doing it, but he's more worried about scoring points on Cuomo than he is getting to Mamdani. Yeah, you do not mess with the Zohran. Ain't that right? Anyway, back to the rest of this clip.
We are going to eliminate the fare on every single bus line.
But who's going to pay for the cost of transportation, the cost of the buses, and the maintenance on them if you eliminate the fares?
And make what are currently the slowest buses in the nation move around this city with ease.
What are you going to do? Widen the roads?
And we are going to create universal child care at no cost to parents.
Now, how are you going to do that? I mean, oh, I forgot. You're going to tax the rich. Okay.
So New Yorkers can raise their family in the city they love. Together, New York, we're going to freeze the... Together, New York, we're going to make buses fast and... Together, New York, we're going to deliver universal... We will make our city one where every person who calls it home can live a dignified life.
So that's the future mayor of New York City. What do you think? Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Shades of Bernie Sanders. Hold that thought. I'll explain what I'm getting at here in a minute. So that is the potential future mayor of New York. Now you sit there and say, well, we still got 8 days left to the election. Oh, no, excuse me, 7 days left to the election. That is true. That is true. But I need to show, yeah, that's a good way of putting it, brother. Equal misery for all. Really? Really? You think so? Okay, and I'm not trying to argue, and I'm not trying to belittle your opinion, but I am genuinely curious. Why do you think he's not going to be mayor? I got a couple. I may know what you're thinking, but I want to hear it from you on this. I'm serious. Why is he not going to be mayor of New York City? I'd like to know. And again, I'm not trying to be dismissive. I'm genuinely curious. I'd like to hear why you think he's not going to be mayor. Because right now, if this election were held today, oh, he's pasting the field. Now, I always tell people, don't believe one poll. Don't believe one poll. However, and most of these polls, I wouldn't spit in a bucket for any of them. However, I think it is safe to say, even with the most conservative of pollsters, and by conservative, I mean the most accurate. Okay, let me rephrase that. If you took a set of polls, like let's say Rasmussen, let's say Trafalgar, Emerson, big data poll run by Rich Barris, Mom Donnie's going to win. If I had to guess, right now, I'd say his margin of victory come next Tuesday night is going to be anywhere between, on the low end, on the very low end, he'll win comfortably by 8 points. On the high end, he wins by 17 or anywhere in between. I'd say he wins by anywhere from 8 to 17 points. Oh, okay. Hang on. I got messages coming in here. Hang on now, folks. I love it when my audience gets interactive. Hang on a second. Hang on. One moment, please. Oh, my friend. Hang on a minute. Okay. Yeah, Ruben just sent me something. We might want to play this. One moment, please. Give me 1 second here, folks. Let me take a run through here real fast. Hang on. One second, folks. Hang on. Hey, Ruben, do me a favor. Just let me know what because this thing runs about 6 minutes long, and I'm willing to play some of it, but I need to know what section specifically you're referring to. So just like let me know what part you're referring to that sounds so familiar to Mamdani. But folks, he's going to win that race anywhere from 8 to 17 points. So what does that mean? Well, I don't know yet. I think he's going to further hasten the decline in New York City. I mean, de Blasio didn't help matters because he basically deconstructed everything that Rudy Giuliani and Michael Bloomberg did in their time as mayor. De Blasio started the destruction. Adams more or less hastened it along. And now if this guy gets in, it'll just get the destruction and the decline will get even faster. He really will. Now, I asked the question of my friend TBA why it is he thinks that this guy's not going to be mayor. He's not born in America, card-carrying communist, and President Trump will never let a communist be mayor of New York City. Well, I'll tell you this much. If Trump's going to do something about it, I mean, he still could. You're right. I mean, according to all the reports I have read, Mamdani's citizenship here in the United States is based on fraud because he deliberately misreported things on his application for citizenship, which that would be enough right there to have it revoked and have him deported. But my question is, why didn't you do anything about it until now? I mean, if the White House was that genuinely concerned about this guy, why didn't you step in early? Because to do it after the fact, and I know what's going to happen, if Trump and his people try to do this after the fact, they're going to be accused of, oh, you didn't like the election outcome. You just used the rules to change everything, which wouldn't be too far from the truth. But I don't know. So I mean, I think you're right, TBA, for what it's worth. Yeah, yeah, but hang on though. Is it really going to wake them up from being foolish? If they vote for the guy, are they really being woken up, or is it just, I don't know. I just don't know, man. Well, true. I think that's right. But who's voting for this guy? Because I mean, to you and I, we're all looking at this election going, ain't no way in the world this guy ought to win. Who's supporting him? You might ask the question. That's reasonable. An analysis from Robert Barnes. Old New York City isn't voting for Mamdani, as Jewish and Catholic ethnic voters overwhelmingly vote for Cuomo, especially boomers. Mamdani's vote is a-religious, young, and foreign-born, fueled by Bernie Bro-style left populism. New York City has a long history of the latter, dating back to the days of Henry George. I said a little earlier, do not dismiss AOC. Do not dismiss this Mamdani guy. It's not so much them that's the most dangerous part about all this. It's what they represent. Okay? They represent leftist populism. Now, right-wing populism, all right, we kind of got a pretty good idea what that looks like. You can sum it up in 4 letters. MAGA. Okay? Right-wing populism has more or less found a home in the MAGA Maha movement. Left-wing populism has sort of been like out there in the wilderness until now. Now it has a vehicle. It has Zohran Mamdani. Okay. This guy's going to win the mayorship in New York City. He will. I mean, I don't like saying it, but he's gonna. Short of some miracle that I don't see happening yet, this guy's going to win. And when he does, God help New York City and the rest of the country, because it's not going to stop with New York City. They're going to try and export this crazy. I could see this absolutely being true. I could absolutely see it being true. And you know what, brother? You might be absolutely right. I could be dead wrong come next Tuesday night. And you know what? I have always said, if I'm wrong, I'll come here and tell you. But I don't think I'm going to be. Not on this one. Not on this one. Oh, it won't even take that long. The election is next Tuesday night, if I'm not mistaken. November 4th. New York City, governorship of New Jersey, governorship of Virginia, all up on the line, which we got some polling data on that. But going back to something Mr. Scott Awesome said, the majority of Mamdani's voters are foreign and young leftists. I'm telling you, leftist populism has found a home, or maybe better say a vehicle. It's always been that kind of out there. Okay. In Mamdani, it's found a vehicle to express itself again. Because keep in mind, he's not running on the fact that he's Muslim. He's not running on, being socialist or communist or anything else. He's running on a very specific set of ideas, which sound eerily similar to Bernie Sanders, in the opinion of a lot of people, and I don't disagree with them. And I've got a clip here from this morning, the War Room. One of my favorite pollsters, and I think one of yours too, Rich Barris, was on with Steve Bannon, and Barris is sounding the warning bells on this. Folks, do me a favor, check this out.
Mamdani's a warning, Steve, but the warning is that we're going to get populism one way or the other. I mean, this is something the Republican Party also has to come to grips with. Mamdani's winning because he is a resurgence of left-wing populism. That's dangerous because it comes in the form of communism, which ends with us lined up against the wall, but that's the reality. I mean, that's what voters wanted. Cuomo wasn't populist enough. They had enough of what he was as governor. I mean, he lost his primary for a reason. I just want to say this too. Those rich people that Congressman Ogles was just talking about, I don't want them in Florida. I don't want them in North Carolina. They've been bankrolling this for years. If you just look at securities and insurance, which is the industry from Wall Street, on opensecrets.org, folks, this isn't hard. The New York financial class has been bankrolling Democrats and these ideas since Donald Trump came down the escalator. They had a brief reprieve and back Mitt Romney, or to some degree. They basically hedged their bets that year, but they've been a part of this. They've been responsible for this. Mamdani's.
Yeah. Oh, do not be surprised. I would not be surprised by that in the slightest, my dear. I really wouldn't. I was listening a little last night to Lionel, great commentator. If you're not following his stuff, you need to. And much like our good buddy TBA, he doesn't think Mamdani's going to win either, because there's one thing that's gonna go through people's minds, or will go through a lot of their minds right now in New York City. Do I want my culture to change? And what he's getting at is this. There's going to be, and whether this is going to be enough to stop Mamdani, I don't know. I don't think it will be. But there's going to be a thought that goes through the minds of voters come next Tuesday night. Do I want to be awakened at 5 a.m. by a Muslim prayer call? Could happen. Do I want to see women walking around in hijabs, veils covering their faces? Do I want to see or maybe it's a simpler way of saying it. Do I want to see my culture changed if I elect this guy? Now, no one's going to admit it. No one's going to come out and say that, but it's going to go through people's minds, because Ruben brings up a fantastic point. London today is New York City tomorrow. Go look at London. Go look at Dearborn, Michigan. Look, you guys could probably, I think you're right, dear. I really do. I don't think there's any stopping Mom Donnie. I think Mom Donnie is going to be the mayor. And again, I don't say that with any great pleasure. I really don't. But this freight train's got a lot of steam behind it. I don't think it's going to get stopped. He's going to become mayor. But to go back to Ruben's point, Minneapolis. I mean, you guys could name the cities around here. Can name the cities in this country that have Muslim majority rule and how they are now radically changed. Occasionally you'll hear me reference another content creator, Aaron Imholt from Steel Toe Morning Show. I think it was about 10 days, maybe a couple of weeks ago. He was doing his morning show and he was talking about the difference between St. Cloud, Minnesota, about 20 years ago versus what it is now. I think it was St. Cloud he's referring to. And he was talking about, 20 years ago, there were all these mom and pop shops that had been there for decades, generations. Now they're all closed up, boarded up. And you have whole sections of the city with Somali immigrants and Somali business people. Now, I got nothing against Somalis opening their own businesses. That's fine. But in part, a lot of what made St. Cloud, Minnesota so unique and so special to a lot of people, it's gone. And I doubt they ever get it back. There's going to be a lot of people come next Tuesday in New York City who vote on the question, do I really want to see my culture changed that radically if I vote for this guy? Now, like I said, I don't think it's going to be enough to stop him. I think he's going to win. But that thought is going to go through people's minds. I think I've got one more clip here from Barris. And remember over the weekend how I was talking about Trump might be in trouble because he's focusing so much on foreign policy? Barris has got some polling out. And I think you're going to want to hear this, folks. Check it out.
You are never going to convince Americans that whatever is going on in Israel or whatever is going on in Eastern Europe is more important than whether or not they can afford eggs at the grocery store. They want you to refocus all of your efforts on the domestic economy. We all understand, we all know politics, and we all understand how much the president's role is steeped in foreign policy. We get that. And foreign affairs, basically the nation's chief diplomat. But the bottom line here is they elected him for a domestic agenda, Steve. And if they don't hear this message soon, it's going to get even less pretty than it is right now. So what you see on the screen, if people aren't looking, 52% said that he is too focused on foreign affairs. Only 19% say that he's too focused on domestic affairs. I mean, this is overwhelming, guys. And by the way, it's worse with independents. If you just looked at Republicans, it's still in the 40s. If you look at MAGA independents, it's 58%. And that's why his numbers are hurting with independents right now. They want him to focus on inflation. You are never.
Now, I bring up that clip to say this. Remember the old expression, power abhors a vacuum? Right? Trump's not talking about inflation right now. Trump's not talking about the price of goods right now. Trump is not talking about a lot of things right now. Mom Donnie is. AOC is. Bernie Sanders is. You want to know in part why Mom Donnie is doing so well in New York City? I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Okay. One of them is he's got, two very weak candidates to run against. Okay. I mean, let's just be honest about it. Andrew Cuomo's day was done a long time ago. Okay. And I have immense amounts of respect for Curtis Sliwa. Okay. He is the founder and the president of the Guardian Angels, one of the most amazing organizations if not in New York City, then around the world. Okay. He has been trying to serve the people of New York City for decades, and he has. Okay. But as much as I love Curtis Sliwa, he's not going to beat Mom Donnie. He's bleeding votes off of Cuomo. And vice versa. Cuomo's bleeding votes off of him. The anti-Mom Donnie vote can't consolidate because there's too many people in the field. There's only 3 candidates. That's enough to get Mom Donnie in. That'll do it. So number one, Mom Donnie's got 2 really weak candidates to run against. Number 2, hey, Mom Donnie's young. He's telegetic. He's good on the stump. He's very articulate. You may not agree with a single solitary idea that the guy's got. Okay. But man, is he good in front of a camera. Man, is he good in front of a microphone. Woo! So you got that going for him. But there's one thing that I think a lot of people are ignoring, and that is message. He's talking about, cost of living in New York City, the fact that the buses are expensive, the fact that childcare, things, pocketbook matters. Those are Trump's issues. That's Trump's bread and butter. That's what he ran on. Trump's not talking about him right now. Now, and again, where did I see this earlier? Hang on a minute. And TBA, I absolutely agree with you. You're right. Foreign policy and trade agreements are important for America. I agree with that completely. Yeah, and Trump's getting trade deals done all over the place. But the average American is looking around going, hey, what about me? What about me being able to afford, things at the grocery store? What about the cost of gasoline? I haven't seen my wages go up yet. And again, we had this discussion with, Dr. Robin McCutcheon the other day. A lot of these things will factor in. They will kick in. But right now, there's at a minimum, Trump's got a perception problem. I think he's got more than a perception problem. He's got an actual problem. And that is he needs to start focusing on things at home. Now, could Trump have done something to stop Mom Donnie before he got to where he is now? Oh, yeah, sure. And frankly, I think he should have. Because doing it after the election is going to be like sour grapes. Hello, Motard. Long time no see. Glad to have you in the house. I'm just saying, beware, because we're headed for a clash of ideas. You got right-wing populism that's found a home in the MAGA movement. You got left-wing populism that's finding a home with people like, finding a vehicle in people like Zohran Mamdani and AOC and Bernie and others. We're headed for a clash of ideas, and it's coming sooner than people realize. It really is. Did I have... Hang on a minute. Got to find something here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here it is. Gypsy just sent me something a few minutes ago. She's talking about the MAGA guy who's voting for Mamdani. Check this out. 55-year-old New Yorker in MAGA for Mamdani gear says he voted for President Trump twice and is now making a switch to vote for Zohran Mamdani for New York City mayor because he likes his policies. Take a look, folks. Now, you sit there and say, oh, he's just one guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, but remember this. Power abhors a vacuum. And if Donald Trump is not going to speak to the economic concerns, hey, maybe the guy is. Maybe he is trolling. You may be absolutely right. But my point is this. If Donald Trump is not going to speak to or be perceived as doing something about the economic concerns of a lot of Americans, they're going to turn to somebody that they think is going to speak to their concerns and is going to be perceived as doing something about it. Now, that person could be a million miles off the mark in terms of their solutions either working or even being correct, but people will turn to them. Dismiss Zohran Mamdani at your peril. I'm telling you, the days ahead politically and ideologically are going to get very, very dangerous. I'm trying to see if I had one more. I swear I thought I did. Nope, I think I got it all covered. So yeah, that's what's going on up in New York City. Oh, I had not noticed that, Salty, but you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. That is funny. But that's what's going on up in New York City. And like I said, be very careful because what happens there could wind up getting exported across the country. We'll see what happens. All right, let's do a real quick commercial. And if you've happened on this live stream, my name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative, and we're talking about some of the things in the news. And we're going to get into a couple other items tonight. We talked about the New York City election, but we're also going to talk about New Jersey and Virginia, just for the sake of, going around the horn, so to speak. Oh, no problem, brother. Glad you're able to stop by with us. So, yeah. Yes, get your shopping done before November 1st. Absolutely. Good night, TBA. Glad to have you here with us, brother. Anyway, if you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to me on YouTube and Rumble. And while you're at it, hit the bell for notifications and leave a thumbs up, leave a comment in chat, do all those fun things that you do. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, I say we're going to go around the horn as far as like things going on in the news. The governor's race in New Jersey is about as close as you can get. The latest poll that just came out is from Qantas Insights, which, by the way, Qantas is a relatively new polling firm, but daggone if they're not pretty accurate. This race is probably down to about 3 points. So really, it's margin of error, and we'll see what happens. But as it stands right now, the Democrat has a very slight lead. So we'll see how close this could get. This could wind up getting real close, real quick. So that's New Jersey. Virginia, on the other hand, is not looking too good for the Republicans. Here's the latest set of polling out of the Commonwealth. And Spanberger, Madam CIA herself, looks like she's on her way to a comfortable win. Now, the bright spot is the Attorney General's race. The Republicans look like they're going to hang on to the AG spot. And Jay Jones, oh man, you'll never live this one down, brother. You'll never live that one down. All right. So that's where we be. And like I say, I'm thinking about doing an election night live stream. Hanging out together, watching the results come in for all the various races. But we'll see. We'll see what my thinking is on that one. Anyway, a couple other news items that came out today. And I'm going to chalk this one up under the headline, the heading of, okay, now what? As you guys will remember, shortly after Joe Biden left office as president, people began to realize, hey, all these pardons, these look funny. It wasn't so much that the pardons were funny, but the signature on them looked funny. And then everybody began to realize, hey, wait a minute. Are we really sure Joe Biden signed all of these? Well, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, yada, yada, yada. Well, a report just came out of the Governmental Affairs Committee in the House. Headline, Comer unleashes on Biden, demands DOJ probe of auto pen use in scathing new report. Comer said Biden's auto pen's action should be considered void and his doctor should potentially lose his license. Article by Elizabeth Elkind. We have the following. House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer, Republican of Kentucky, is demanding the Department of Justice conduct a comprehensive investigation into former President Joe Biden's auto pen use. The committee's GOP's majority released a 100-page report on Tuesday detailing findings from its months-long probe into Biden's White House, specifically whether his inner circle covered up signs of mental decline in the ex-president and if the alleged cover-up extended to executive actions signed via auto pen without Biden's full awareness. Quote, faced with the cognitive decline of President Joe Biden, White House aides at the direction of the inner circle hid the truth about the former president's condition and fitness for office, the report said. The report also detailed a haphazard documented process for pardons made by Biden, which the committee argued left little room for doubt over whether the former president made those decisions himself. In the absence of sufficient contemporaneous documentation indicating that cognitively deteriorating President Biden himself made a given executive decision, such decisions do not carry the force of law and should be considered void. The Department of Justice should immediately conduct a review of all executive actions taken by Biden between January 20, 2021 and January 19, 2025. Given the patterns and finding details herein, this review should focus particularly on all acts of clemency. However, it should also include other types of executive action. So basically, Comer, the chair of the Governmental Affairs Committee, wants the Justice Department to open an investigation because he's saying, hey, this guy wasn't all there. All these actions of clemency and pardons and commutations of sentence were signed by auto pen. We don't know whether Biden authorized it or not, which presidents have been using auto pens for decades. That doesn't necessarily surprise anybody. What does surprise everyone, however, is do we really know for sure that Joe Biden signed off on all this stuff? Well, Mike Davis, head of the Article 3 project, was on Steve Bannon's show, War Room, this evening, and he had some thoughts on the matter. Check this out.
Good luck. Mike Davis, this is deeper than just pardons. Talk to us about this report. It's 100 pages long. It's from Comer's committee. And I've been saying, I think this is the deepest scandal. This dwarfs Watergate. When you combine all these, but even this aspect of it, it shows you how illegitimate, how reckless, and how lawless these people are. Can you walk us through it?
Yeah, I mean, the issue is not that Biden or any other president used the auto pen. Politicians use auto pens. The issue is are they carrying out that president's will by using that auto pen? You know this, Steve. You worked in the White House. I've worked in the White House. Presidents generally use auto pen to sign correspondence with, 6-year-old kids who write letters to the president. You don't use the auto pen to sign major pieces of legislation, and you certainly don't use the auto pen to sign pardons. And so it's very suspect that they use the auto pen to sign pardons. And so then the question becomes, did President Biden actually authorize these pardons, and they were simply carrying out President Biden's will because he's too weak or frail or whatever to sign these pardons? Or is there something more sinister going on here, where they have White House staff signing pardons behind the president's back? And if it's the latter, this truly is one of the biggest scandals ever.
By the way, this makes sure the Nancy Pelosi, all the J6 committee that threw everybody in prison for misdemeanors, they and tortured the J6 folks, right, and sent criminal referrals, had people thrown in prison forever. Their pardons, the ones they crawled on their belly over to the White House, are inoperative. Am I to take it that that's a fact?
Well, I mean, if the president did not authorize a pardon and someone used the president's auto pen to sign a pardon he didn't authorize, then those pardons would not be valid, right? And so how it would come up, though, is you would bring how pardons work is if you bring a criminal charge, federal criminal charge against someone, that person would present the pardon documents in courts and say that I am pardoned for this crime. It's a defense to the crime. And so I guess how you would challenge this is if Pam Bondi and the Biden Justice Department wants to indict Tony Fauci, for example, for one of his crimes, then you would challenge the pardon then.
Now, I have a question for you guys. How many of you guys honestly think Pam Bondi or anybody else from the Justice Department is going to go into a courtroom and do what Mike Davis is talking about? I mean, seriously, it ain't going to happen. I mean, don't get me wrong. Congratulations to the Republicans in the House for, finding something to do in their free time. But really, of all the problems we've got right now, and this is what you guys are focusing on? Seriously? I mean, good God. What exactly? They're not going to do a daggone thing about this. Not one, nary not one little bit. Oh, I mean, holy cow. It's just, come on, guys. Of all the things that you could be doing to help the American people, and this is what you spent your time on. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And people wonder, and let me rephrase that, and Republicans in Congress wonder why it is that the American people don't trust them as a political party. It is just astounding to me. Just astounding. Hang on one second, folks. I'm just finishing up something here real quick. I said I was going to grab WWG1's memes, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So, almost finished. Just about got it. I want to make sure I grab these because last time I tried to do this for everybody, when I got bombed in memes, had a difficulty at the time and could not pull it off. Well, this time I don't think I'm going to have that issue, he says with confidence. Almost got it. One more. Give me 1 second, folks. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to do anything with this. They wasted 100 pages, tore how many trees came down to make that happen. And, all right, cool, that got it. Yeah, it is sad. It is genuinely sad. They could be doing so much more and yet aren't. It's really unbelievable. Totally unbelievable. Truly. But hey, they wrote a report. Thank God they did that. Oish. Anyway, one more story, and we're going to bring the train in a little bit early this evening. I said at the time when President Trump announced they had a peace deal in the Middle East to stop the fighting in Gaza, to get the hostages out, yada, yada, yada. I said, let's just hold our breath and hope this works. Well, Benjamin Netanyahu may be doing his dead level best to kill the deal. I got a story here from Axios. This came out earlier this morning, or earlier in the day. Headline: Netanyahu orders powerful strikes in Gaza as ceasefire breaks down. Article by Barak Ravid. We got the following. Dateline Jerusalem. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced on Tuesday that he had ordered, quote, powerful strikes in the Gaza Strip immediately in retaliation for what Israeli officials say was a Hamas attack on Israeli forces in the city of Rafah. The deal to end the war in Gaza was easily President Trump's biggest diplomatic achievement this term. Now it's looking incredibly fragile. The Trump administration has been focusing over the last several weeks on stabilizing the ceasefire and pressing both parties to avoid steps that could detonate it. As part of that mission, the White House sent several top officials to Israel and established a U.S. command center in Israel to oversee and monitor the situation on the ground. But a deepening dispute over the return of deceased hostages by Hamas and a firefight on Tuesday in the city of Rafah intensified calls in Israel for military action. The strikes Netanyahu ordered could rupture the ceasefire altogether. The Israeli Defense Forces claimed Hamas militants fired anti-tank missiles and conducted sniper fire on Tuesday against Israeli forces in the city of Rafah in southern Gaza. Hamas claimed it had no involvement in the incident and remains committed to the ceasefire, which it accused Israel of violating with its new strikes. Most of Rafah is controlled by the IDF, but some Hamas militants still operate in tunnels in that area. The attack led to significant exchanges of fire between Hamas militants and the Israeli Defense Force. The Israeli Air Force also conducted airstrikes in Rafah in response. Yeah, exactly. Shocked, I say. Oh, boy. This is why I always tell everybody, as much as possible, the United States needs to stay out of everybody else's business. And this is just one more example of it. Why you stay out of everybody else's business. I don't even know what to say on this one. I really don't. Netanyahu claims he wants peace, and then he's got this going on. Now, I'm not saying that Hamas are the good guys or the bad guys or vice versa, where the Israelis are concerned. But the U.S. needs to get out of this stuff. Oh, but Israel is our ally. Really? Israel is our ally. Why is our ally always seems like they're trying to get us into more trouble in the Middle East than what we'd otherwise do on our own? The best way that I can describe the relationship between the Israelis, the government of Israel, let me be very clear about this. Best way I can describe the relationship between the government of Israel and the United States. Have you ever had that one buddy that calls you up at 8 o'clock at night and says, hey, come on, go out with me for one beer? We're just going to go out and get one beer. You think to yourself, this isn't a good idea, but it's my buddy. Why not? Then before you know it, it's 3 a.m. You're both laying drunk in a gutter and the police are standing over top of you, getting ready to haul you off to jail for public intoxication. That's what the relationship between Israel, the government of Israel, and the United States is right now. The government of Israel is that one buddy that calls you up and says, hey, let's go out for one beer. The U.S. is the guy that says, this isn't such a good idea, but it's my buddy. Why not? And that's exactly where we're going here. Zippy's in the house. How you doing, Zippy? Good to have you here with us, brother. Yeah, this is why we need to get away for a while from the government of Israel. Seriously. And again, I have not one thing Not one thing against the people of Israel. Same way with the Palestinians. I don't have anything against the Palestinians. Not real wild about their choice of government, but okay. Yeah, well, I've been thinking about that one for a while, actually. Thank you, though. I appreciate the compliment. I mean, seriously, I mean, Israel is that the government of Israel is that one buddy that calls you up and says, "Hey, let's go out for one beer," and then before you know it, you're laying drunk in the gutter and getting ready to get charged with public intoxication. Israel will the current government of Israel will get more nations into more trouble faster than they could otherwise do on their own. Well, yeah, there's another angle to it. There's another angle to it. The Palestinians have their own issues. So anyway, all right. We're going to bring the train into the station a little bit early. I want to thank you guys so much, as always, for being here for the Tuesday night newsroom. We'll be back this Thursday night. And we'll get together around 7 o'clock. And we'll do this all over again. Talk about some more things going on out there. And hey, as I said before, if you've got stories or memes that you think you'd like to talk about or want us to talk about, hey, right here is my Twitter handle. Okay. Tag me with something, just like Gypsy did tonight. So, yeah, if you got stories, if you got memes, tag me in it. Let's take a look at it, and we'll see if we can get it up here together. So anyway, in the meanwhile, you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday night. Have a great Wednesday. I'll see you guys Thursday night at 7 o'clock. And remember the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall, when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, more money." Love you guys very much. You have a great Tuesday night. Bye-bye.